in the country in the government's efforts to proffer a lasting solution. President Bola Tinubu has given a charge to the armed forces to continue to protect Nigeria's territorial integrity against all threats, and he also commended them for their dedication to duty and sacrifices for the nation. The president was at the Diamond Jubilee of the Nigerian Defense Academy in Kaduna, and our correspondent Lupe Asom reports.
The arrival of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the RSM Oliver Nzal Ghana Parade Ground signals the commencement of the Diamond Jubilee celebration of the Nigerian Defense Academy. He is the reviewing officer for the trooping and presentation of National and Regimental Colours Parade. The Ministers of Defense, service chiefs and other guests are also present. The President inspects the parade. The highlight of the event is the presentation of new national and regimental colours by the President. In his address, he acknowledged the ongoing battle against insecurity, emphasizing notable progress towards achieving relative peace. He charges the armed forces on the need to intensify the offensive against insecurity.
Let me reiterate the urgency to upscale the fight against insecurity, which has robbed us of peace and progress. While the relative peace we have been able to secure recently is worthy of celebration. But we must remember that the war is not over yet until every parcel of land held by the enemy of the flying and enemy of peace is earned, accountable, and Nigeria is free of terrorism and banditry.
He also expresses concern over the rise of undemocratic political forces in West African Francophone nations, emphasizing the need for Nigerian armed forces to remain vigilant.
We are all aware of the undemocratic political forces that have swept across the Sahel Francophone countries in West Africa and Central Africa. I urge you to continue to play your constitutional role of safeguarding the territorial integrity of Nigeria, our fatherland. You have shown any act that are inimical to the well-being of our nation, an act which can destroy the gains of democracy, which we have enjoyed in the last 20 years.
In a plea to citizens, President Tinubu has called for patience and understanding, asking Nigerians to bear with his administration in areas where shortcomings may have been perceived.
Please, if there are shortfalls, bear with us. We will make up a united, prosperous Nigeria.
It is tradition at the NDA to present new colours to the Academy during milestone celebrations which occur every 10 years. Lupe Asom, TVC News, Kaduna.
Our correspondent Lupe Asom joins me live for more updates on this story. Lupe, good to have you on the bulletin at this time. So first off, give us insights on how the NDA has evolved over time and what impact now this has had on how it trains its officers for national defense. What can you tell us?
Well, of course, the Nigerian Defense Academy is the premier military institution in sub-Saharan Africa. Of course, it has been responsible for the training of Nigeria's commissioned officers since 1964. Several senior serving and retired military officers had to go through these military institutions. And I must also let our viewers know that we usually have cadets from allied-friendly nations come into the NDA to receive training. So it is a very great institution which is not only important to Nigeria but other countries. Of course, at the trooping and the trooping and presentation of flags today, we had the flags of over 6 friendly allied nations. So that's to tell you how important this institution is in the production of very, very seasoned and fine military officers, not only for Nigeria, but for also friendly allied nations. So, of course, the president was here today. He commended the NDA on their giant strides, and he also charged members of the armed forces, personnel of the armed forces, to do everything within their powers to ensure that an end is put to insecurity and to protect the territorial integrity of our nation against threats and enemies of the Nigerian state. So that is basically a brief history of the NDA and its contribution to nation building.
Yeah, and talking about security, security remains quite a thorny issue under this current administration. I'd like you to share with us what the plans of the president, rather, to address this issue of insecurity in the country. What are you hearing? What can you tell us?
Well, basically, he spoke about the urgency to intensify military operations against enemies of the Nigerian state. And he also promised the Nigerian Armed Forces that his administration is going to prioritize their welfare and is going to ensure that they get every equipment that they would need in the ongoing fight against insecurity. He acknowledged that progress has been made, but he also said this has not come without, of course, some negative impacts. That's talking about insecurity now. But he assured that his administration is going to prioritize the provision of all the equipment that the armed forces are going to need to ensure that an end is put to insecurity. And he also spoke about the current situation in some sub-Saharan states in West Africa where coups have been taking place, and he commended the armed forces and he charged them to ensure that they do everything within their constitutional powers to ensure that the polity in Nigeria is kept safe. So that is the situation as regards security.
All right, our correspondent Lupia Asom live for us from Kaduna. Thanks a lot. And staying with security concerns, the operatives of the Nigerian police force have killed several kidnappers, including a kidnap kingpin in Abuja. The team